there's this huge new rule coming out of Europe, and it's set to completely shake up global supply chains. It's going to affect everything from your morning coffee to the wood in your furniture. So, today, we're breaking down the EU's new deforestation rulebook and what it really means for businesses all over the world. So, think about it for a second. Is your coffee deforestation free? Do you actually know for sure where those beans were grown? Or the cocoa for your chocolate? Or even the rubber in the soles of your shoes? Seems like a pretty simple question, right? Well, for thousands of companies, answering it is about to become a serious legal requirement. Yep, you heard that right. The days of just saying your products are sustainable, they're pretty much over. If you want to sell certain things in the European Union, you now have to come with receipts. We're talking concrete, verifiable proof that your products did not contribute to deforestation. So let's get into it. What exactly is this new regulation? In this first part, we're just going to cover the basics, what the EUDR is, and which products it actually applies to. Okay, so the official name is the EU Deforestation Regulation, or EUDR for short. And its mission is really, really simple: to make sure that products sold in the EU haven't come from land that was deforested after a very specific date. That date is December 31st, 2020. And that date is everything. It's the line in the sand, totally non-negotiable, and it's the bedrock of this whole law. So, what are we talking about here? The regulation is laser-focused on 7 key commodities that are known to be some of the biggest drivers of deforestation around the world. We've got beef, cocoa, coffee, palm oil, rubber, soy, and then a whole bunch of wood and paper products. If your business touches any of these, well, this law is now your business. And get this, the level of detail they're asking for is, well, it's intense. The EUDR isn't messing around. It demands full traceability. That means companies have to be able to follow a product all the way back to the specific plot of land where that raw material came from. We're not talking about a general region. We're talking about precise geolocation data. Now, it's not like these rules are the same for everybody. Nope. Your specific job depends entirely on where you are in that supply chain. So let's break down those different roles because this is really important. Basically, the EUDR created 2 brand new titles, the Upstream Operator and the Downstream Operator. And here's the simplest way to think about it. The Upstream guy does all the heavy lifting, the full due diligence. The Downstream guys, their main job is just to keep the paper trail going. Okay, let's start with the Upstream Operator. Think of this as the first domino. It's the very first company, whether they're an importer or a local producer, that puts one of these regulated products onto the EU market. They are on the hook for submitting a formal due diligence statement, or DDS, to the authorities. They carry the biggest burden of proof. And then you have the Downstream Operator. This is basically everyone else down the line. Maybe you're a manufacturer turning cocoa into chocolate bars, or a retailer selling those bars. Your job isn't to start a new investigation. Your job is to make sure the product you're handling has already been cleared and to keep that chain of custody intact. This chart really lays it all out. You see the Upstream Operator at the top, they submit the big statement. The first downstream company that buys from them has one key job: get the reference number for that statement and keep it safe. After that, every other company in the chain just needs to track who they bought it from and who they sold it to. It's all about making sure that chain is never, ever broken. Okay, so in theory, that all sounds pretty straightforward, right? But here's the thing. In the real world, getting that super specific plot-level data you need to prove you're compliant, yeah, that's a whole other story. This is where things get really tricky. And don't just take my word for it. Listen to what expert Harry Marshall from Open Atlas points out. He says that a lot of the common open data tools out there have this massive flaw. They literally can't tell the difference between a real forest and a big farm growing something like palm oil or coffee. And you can see how that would cause some huge problems. I mean, look at this number. It's absolutely wild. In some places, these open datasets can overreport how much forest there is by 40 to 95%. Think about what that means. It means you could get a red flag for deforestation on a farm that was never, ever a forest to begin with. And just like that, your whole supply chain could be put on hold. So what's the bottom line here? Trying to use these generic open source data tools for EUDR compliance is a huge gamble. They get the classifications wrong, they just don't have the plot level precision the law requires, and a lot of the time their definition of a forest doesn't even match the specific legal definition in the EUDR. It's a risky bet.
Okay, so if the easy open data route is full of traps, what does doing it the right way actually look like? Let's follow the journey of a product. And more importantly, let's follow its data.
All right, let's use an official example to make this super clear. Imagine a big timber company. They are cutting down logs. They are the upstream operator. They sell those logs to a sawmill at a paper company. Boom. Now the sawmill and the paper company are the first downstream operators. Then the sawmill sells its processed wood to a furniture maker who becomes the next link. See how at every single step, both the physical product and the responsibility get passed down the line? Now, the absolute key to this whole system is something called the Due Diligence Statement Reference Number. It's like the product's passport. The upstream operator submits their statement, and the EU system spits out a unique number. They must pass that number on to the first company they sell to. After that, while the number itself might not travel down the whole chain, that unbreakable link back to the original declaration has to be maintained by everyone. And this brings us to a really crucial point. If you're a company of any real size, trying to track all of this in a bunch of spreadsheets, it's not going to work. It is a recipe for disaster. The risk of one little mistake is way too high. This regulation basically demands that you have a real, integrated digital traceability system. Okay, so the deadline is getting closer and closer. What does this new world of mandatory digital paper trails really mean for businesses? And believe me, the clock is ticking. For most companies, the main rules officially kick in on December 30th, 2026. Micro and small businesses get a little extra time until June 30th, 2027. But this isn't some problem for the distant future. The time to get your systems ready is right now. And don't think for a second that this is just some suggestion. They are serious about enforcement. The law actually sets minimums for how many checks have to be done each year. Authorities have to check at least 9% of operators bringing stuff in from high-risk countries, 3% from standard risk, and 1% from low risk. So getting checked isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It is a statistical certainty. So when you boil it all down, the whole conversation has changed. It's not about who needs to file the paperwork anymore. That part's settled. The real question, the one every single business in these supply chains needs to be asking right now, is this. When the authorities come knocking, can your systems actually prove it?